So if you remember in the last video, we created an object and we got it to free fall. Let's just test that. Can you see there? It just free falls, stops at the bottom. It's more like gravity in water, but there you go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually move that up there, and this time I'm going to create a platform, and I want it to stop on the platform. So if I use the rectangle tool, and let's use a different colour, we'll use a red colour, and I'm going to create a platform. So I need, again, for Flash to work with anything, ActionScript, it needs to have a it needs to be a symbol, and it needs to have an instance name, and we're going to call this platform. So movie clip and give it an instance name again, platform. Now this is relatively simple. If you think about it, in these actions we're saying that on every frame, as long as it's above the stage height, then move it. But also we need to take into consideration that it's not hitting a platform. So I'm going to put a nested if in there. I'm going to say that if player.hitTestObject, so we're saying that if the player hits the platform, make sure that we balance those braces in there, then I'm going to move it. But it's not that if it hits the object that we're going to move it, it's actually if it doesn't hit the object we're going to move it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put in an exclamation mark in there. So let's test it, and hopefully there we go. We've got gravity stopping when it actually hits a platform. Now Flash has got two methods of hit detection. One of them is hitTestObject, where we're looking at the whole object hitting the whole other object that we're looking at. Now that's fine with things like rectangles, hitting rectangles, where we're not looking for precision. But if we are actually looking for precision, then you need something that's a little bit more complicated. And that's where hitTestPoint comes in handy. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to just recreate hitTestPoint using this particular file. Now hitTestPoint works on this reference point that we've got here. So what I'm going to do, the first thing is I'm going to move this reference point, because if we're looking at something to do with gravity, then that point ideally needs to be on the bottom of this this particular shape. I'm going to actually go into this shape, and let's just zoom in on it on the screen. I'm going to change it. I'm going to change it to a circle, because that's a little bit more precise still. And so I've got this circle, and I didn't want it to be red because it's a red circle hitting a red object. Let's change that to blue again. Now this reference point, I want this to be down here. Now it's dead easy. You could sort of do it manually, but it's going to be a little bit iffy. We can actually go into Align, which is one of the icons down the side here, and can see there Align to Stage, Center, and Bottom. And that gets it absolutely perfect. Now if we come back out of editing this symbol and zoom back out again, we can see there we've got this character that still, as things stand, it's going to fall, and it's still going to just stop when it gets down there. There we go. We could actually speed that up a little bit. Let's speed that up. Instead of incrementing it, we will add 5 to it. Let's test it again. There you go. Falls a bit faster. Okay, so we're going to make this hitTestPoint. So if the platform hits test point, player.x, player.y, true. So if the platform doesn't hit the test point, the player then can continue to move the player. And there we have it. We've got gravity, which actually stops on the platform. Now, why would we do the hitTestPoint rather than the hitTestObject? Well, I'll show you why, and this is a really good way of doing it. Now, this object here is the platform, this whole object. Now, if I go in to edit that, and actually that platform I want to shrink that down a bit. Let's have that bit there, and I'm going to hold down Alt and create another bit, and then have another bit there, and go back. Now you can see the border around all of this, and this is the whole object is a platform. Now if this character was playing a platform game and fell down, he'd stop there. But then once you move to the side, if we're using hitTestObject, it would say, yes, I'm still hitting the object. Whereas if you're using hitTestPoint, it's actually looking for a filled in piece. So as you see in the maze game, if you actually edit the maze game and look at the platform is just filled in bits of wall, followed by a lot of spaces, and that's how we use hitTestPoint. hitTestObject is absolutely fantastic for collecting things like coins or interacting with things like enemies, but in this instance hitTestPoint is the best one to use. So in the next video what we're going to do is we're going to combine gravity with movement in order to be able to fall off one platform onto another.